Hello everyone. Back again with film recaps. In this video, I'm going to recap one of the thriller suspense films from 2013, titled Cheap Thrills. Before we get to the storyline, I'd like to wish everyone a happy and great day. Without further ado, let's get straight to the storyline. The movie opens with a man named Craig cuddling with his wife, Audrey, in the early morning, but their peaceful moment is abruptly interrupted by the cries of their baby, forcing Craig to wake up and deal with the situation. Later, Craig tries to give his wife some money, but there is barely any cash left, which worries him, but he doesn't say anything to his wife and quietly gives her whatever he has. He heads out for work, but is shocked to see a warning notice on his doorstep stating that if he doesn't pay his rent within 7 days, he will be evicted. Later, we see Craig at his workplace, and it turns out he is a mechanic who works at a car repair shop. While he is focused on his work, he is approached by a coworker who tells him that the boss wants to see him. Here, his boss begins informing him about the company's downsizing. Next, we see Craig leaving the workplace looking devastated, revealing that he has just been laid off. However, he doesn't tell his wife, and instead leaves her a voicemail, saying he will be late tonight because he's going out for drinks with his coworkers. Distraught by the day's events, Craig goes to a bar to calm his nerves with a drink. Suddenly, someone grabs him from behind and demands money, but Craig breathes a sigh of relief when he realizes it's his old buddy, Vince. Vince offers to buy him a drink, since they haven't met in 5 years, and the friends begin catching up about their lives. During their chat, Craig asks Vince about his profession, and asks when he goes to collect money, does it always have to be violent? Vince wonders why he's asking, so Craig finally opens up about his financial problems, and says how his family is going to be homeless soon if he doesn't pay rent on time, and how he has just been fired. Vince offers to help him out, but Craig says he needs $4,500, and even Vince doesn't have that much. Vince talks about his work, and says how he once had to brutally break a guy's arm for just $80, while his daughter watched. He asks his friend if he is capable of doing something like that, which leaves Craig completely speechless. Next, Craig heads to the washroom where a strange man is doing drugs, and after he leaves, Craig notices some money in the toilet bowl, which he takes for himself. When he returns to the bar, Vince calls him to join a couple who have invited them for drinks. Craig sits with them, after which the stranger introduces himself as Colin, and his wife, Violet, whose birthday is tonight, and they are celebrating. Colin seems to be a wealthy man, and orders an expensive bottle of drink, which impresses the two friends. While drinking and chatting, Colin asks about the duo, so Vince reveals they are high school friends catching up after a long time. Colin urges them to take a photo together to document his wife's birthday, to which they agree. The couple then mentions a small $100 bet they've placed on a nearby old man. Every time he stares at the bartender's ass, Violet wins, while every time he glances at her chest, Colin wins. Next, Colin challenges the duo, saying whoever can down the first shot of tequila will win $50, so Vince instantly takes the shot and wins, but he hands the money over to Craig. But Colin insists they stick to the rules, and asks Vince to keep the winnings for himself, which the latter agrees to. In the next round, Craig takes the first shot and wins the money, while Violet snaps his picture. Later, Colin escalates the game and points to a girl, saying whoever can make her angry enough to slap them will win $200. Craig approaches the girl first, but fails to provoke any reaction, and quickly gives up. Vince then gives it a shot, and ends up getting slapped across the face, earning him the money. Up next, Colin openly begins doing drugs in the bar, so Craig suggests they move to the bathroom instead, but Colin says the place stinks. They are approached by a waitress who tells them they cannot do drugs here, but Colin hands her a hefty amount of cash, and makes her leave. Next, Vince suggests going to a strip club to have more fun, but Craig refuses and says he needs to go home. But Vince continues insisting, and even Colin adds that it is Violet's birthday, and she will be sad if he leaves, so Craig finally agrees. Once there, Colin gives another challenge, saying that whoever can slap a stripper's butt will get $200. So, Vince approaches the girl, and immediately slaps her butt, which causes his group to laugh and run from there. The others get into a vehicle to leave, but Craig says he will go home, when a bouncer arrives and accuses him of hitting one of the girls. Craig swears he didn't do it, while Colin challenges him to hit the bouncer first for $500, so Craig punches the bouncer in the face, after which he is also hit back and loses consciousness. Sometime later, Craig wakes up, and finds himself in an unfamiliar environment, which turns out to be the home of Colin and Violet. He checks his pocket, and finds the money he had won through all the bets. Craig then heads to the living room, where the others are laughing, chatting, and having the time of their lives. Colin tells him that today is the most unforgettable night of Craig's life, and that even if they never meet again, this memory will stay with him forever. However, Craig says he just wants to go home, after which Violet clicks his picture, and decides to clean his wounds. Meanwhile, Colin and Vince have gone into another room to grab some medicine, during which Vince notices a safe full of cash and drugs. At the same time, Violet is tending to Craig's injuries, and opens up about herself, but they are interrupted when Colin arrives with Vince and offers Craig some pills for his pain. Next, the three men head to the terrace and look out at the view, during which Vince suddenly pees on Craig's shoe. Craig is disgusted, while Vince just laughs, revealing it was just another dare. An enraged Craig heads to the washroom to clean up, during which Vince follows him, apologizing. In the bathroom, Vince reveals a shocking plan, saying he is going to rob Colin, who has a safe full of cash probably worth $150,000. Craig is obviously disturbed by this plan and refuses, so Vince says this kind of money can change their lives. Craig worries about the cops, but Vince says Colin won't call them since he is high on drugs and doesn't want to get caught. After brief consideration, Craig finally agrees to the plan, so Vince asks him to hold the girl while he takes care of the rest. Following this, the two men exit the bathroom, after which Vince immediately takes action by holding Colin at knife point, while Craig grabs Violet, who seems oddly unfazed. Vince then demands the combination to his safe, but Colin says he doesn't know it, and insists the safe isn't even locked. The duo obviously doesn't believe this, but Colin continues to insist that he can't remember numerical sequences. Next, Vince watches over the couple, while Craig goes to check the safe, and is stunned to find that it is indeed open. He collects all the money, and returns to the living room. The duo is now about to leave. But then, it is revealed that Colin is a Taekwondo champion. Here, Violet pulls out a gun from her bag and points it at Craig, who quickly clarifies that this was not his idea. Then, in a shocking twist, Colin says let bygones be bygones, and suggests they pretend like the robbery never happened, which confuses the two men. Colin says he wanted an awesome night for Violet's birthday, and reveals that the money, which is actually $250,000, was for Vince and Craig. He claims the money was originally meant for the game, and the couple was going to give it to the two guys anyway, but they ruined it by trying to steal it. He says they are free to go home, or stay and play the game for money, to which an excited Vince and Craig agree. Next, Colin gives another dare, offering $500 to whoever can hold their breath the longest. Vince goes first to do the dare, while Craig receives a call from his wife, who is worried because it is 2 a.m., and he has not returned home. She says she spoke with his colleague and learned what happened, but she promises she is not mad, and asks him to come home. Craig says he will be there in 45 minutes, right when Colin shouts that he will give him $300 if he hangs up the phone. When he lowers it to $200, Craig hurriedly hangs up. Now, Craig has to do the challenge of holding his breath, and he has to beat Vince's record of 1 minute 58 seconds. It seems like Craig is about to win, and even the couple cheers for him, so Vince does this.
Oh shit! Oh!
Craig is upset because Vince cheated, but Colin says there are no rules in the game. For the next challenge, Colin takes them to the front yard, where there is poop lying around. He says it is all because of his neighbors, who always let their dog poop on his lawn. Colin wants to take revenge on the neighbors, so he offers $800 to whoever can defecate inside their house, with photographic evidence required. Vince says this is crazy, so Colin raises the final offer to $1,200, which excites the two friends. Following this, the duo break inside the neighbor's house, where both of them try to defecate at the same time but struggle a lot. In the end, Craig manages to go first, so he takes a picture as proof, and immediately runs away from the house. Meanwhile, a little girl in the house wakes up and is horrified when she sees Vince, so he also ends up running away before the girl screams and causes others to wake up. Later, Craig returns to Colin, and shows him the picture as proof, which impresses him, but just then Vince arrives with the neighbor's dog. He says the dog will poop again in his yard, so he offers to kill it for money and solve the problem altogether. But Colin is disgusted by this, and says he is not going to pay him to kill a helpless animal, while Violet picks up the dog and begins petting it. This makes Vince angry, so he begins arguing with Craig, while Violet takes their picture together. Colin then pays Craig for the last challenge, after which he offers $300 to anyone who can make a vodka tonic for him. Craig moves forward, but Vince aggressively pushes him to the ground, and makes the drink himself. During this, Violet approaches Craig, and suddenly invites him to get intimate with her, which shocks both Craig and Vince. But Colin remains unfazed, and encourages Craig to sleep with his wife, as they have an open relationship. Craig refuses, so Vince offers to do it instead, but Violet is insistent on being with Craig only. Colin thus offers him $4,500, which would prevent him from getting evicted, but Craig is still not sure. Vince is clearly jealous, and offers to do it with Violet for free, but Colin says his wife prefers a married man. In the end, Craig reluctantly accepts the offer, after which he and Violet become intimate, which oddly excites Colin as well. He begins pleasuring himself while watching his wife with another man, which leaves Vince feeling weirded out. After they're done, the couple goes to change clothes, while Craig has now earned enough money to solve his problems temporarily. He declares he is done, and leaves the house, which pleases Vince. Later, when the couple returns, Violet is disappointed to learn that Craig has left, so she runs out into the street to find him, but he is nowhere to be seen. She soon returns to the house, saying Craig is gone, which disappoints the couple, but Vince says he is still here, and wants to play. And so, Colin gives him another challenge, which is to cut off his pinky finger for $25,000. Vince reluctantly agrees to do it. But suddenly,
I'll do it for 23.
Craig shockingly returns and says he will do it for $23,000. His arrival makes the couple very happy, while Vince is furious. After snorting some drugs, Craig says that $4,500 will solve this month's problem, but he will still have problems next month, since both he and his wife are unemployed. Vince also talks about his problems, saying that every time he goes to work, he is close to being thrown back in jail. He says he never makes this much money at his job, so Craig tells him it is his fault for dropping out of high school. The two then begin bidding, and in the end, Craig wins by offering $15,000 to cut off his pinky finger. Following this, they prepare to cut Craig's finger, and Colin orders Vince to do it, and he has also prepared a hot iron to prevent any bleeding. When Vince swings the knife, Craig gets frightened and immediately pulls his finger away. He says he needs something to numb the pain, but before Colin can give him medication, Vince reacts quickly and cuts off Craig's finger. Craig screams in pain, before they realize that his finger is not completely severed. With immense pain, Craig finally detaches the finger, after which Colin cauterizes the wound with the hot iron, while Violet captures the moment on camera. Shortly after, they all hear a gagging sound, but can't figure out where it's coming from. Craig asks about his finger, right when they notice that the dog has passed away for some reason. The couple learn that the poor dog choked on Craig's finger, which was thrown away by Vince earlier. Later, Violet bandages Craig's wound, during which the two friends continue to bicker, as Vince accuses Craig of robbing his chance to earn $25,000. Not long after, Colin arrives with food that smells delicious, and offers it to the guys along with a $10,000 bottle of tequila. In a horrifying twist, the meat turns out to be from the dog that died earlier, which disgusts both Vince and Craig. But Colin tries to justify it, saying dog meat is eaten in many parts of the world, and tastes like chicken. He offers $50,000 to whoever finishes their portion first, so both of them agree, and begin a frantic eating race. But unexpectedly, the result is a draw, so to break the tie, Colin introduces a new challenge: whoever can eat Craig's little finger wins the race. Colin immediately throws the finger onto the floor, and both men scramble for it, fighting violently. Craig brutally kicks Vince, and knocks him down, before eating the finger and securing the win. While he celebrates his victory, Vince gets back up and begins attacking Craig, which leaves the latter bloodied and breathless. Upon seeing this, Colin takes Vince outside to calm him down and get some fresh air. Vince is very angry, and talks about how Craig used to get bullied at school, and how he always stood up for him. Unexpectedly, Colin now gives Vince a final challenge, to kill Craig for a reward of $250,000, and says this is his chance to start anew. Vince is stunned to hear this, and is hesitant at first, but after some consideration, he agrees. Next, they return to the house, where Violet prepares to play a slideshow of the photos she captured all night. Meanwhile, Craig is exhausted from everything, and asks Colin if he can call a cab to go home. Colin agrees, and calls a cab, after which Vince arms himself with a knife, and prepares to kill his friend. But at the last moment, he can't bring himself to do it, and suggests to Craig they should get out of here. But then, in a shocking turn of events,
Craig, let's get the fuck out of here.
Craig fires another shot until Vince is truly dead. It seems like Violet had also secretly challenged Craig to kill Vince for $250,000. Next, Craig collects the money from winning all of the challenges, while Colin calls someone to dispose of the body. After Craig leaves, Colin pays Violet her money, as the two had made a bet on which friend would kill the other. Colin had chosen Vince, while Violet chose Craig. In the final scene, Craig returns home, and finds his son is crying, so he carries the baby. Moments later, the lights switch on, and we see Audrey, who is horrified to see her husband battered and covered in blood, with money scattered all over the room. Okay guys, thanks for watching. See you again in the next video.